I'm Miss Karli, and I will be showing you today the parts of the violin. The reason that I chose the violin, I couldn't really tell you because I was 4. I just thought it was really cool, and I wanted to play it, so I started when I was really young. What excites me about my instrument is that it can do a lot of things that band instruments can't do, like playing 2 notes at one time. So now we're going to go through the parts of the violin. We're going to start from the top and go to the bottom, and I will tell you a little bit of background on each part. So this part right here is the scroll. The scroll I like to think of as a paper scroll they used to use back in the 1700s. That's how I remember it's called, a scroll. After the scroll, we have these little pegs. They are called pegs. They tune the instrument when you turn them not up and down, but righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. And they sit inside this peg box where all the strings are kept. That's why it's called a peg box, because the pegs sit in the box. Now here we have the nut. This is the nut of the violin. It separates the peg box from the fingerboard, which is this big, long, black strip of wood where you put your fingers all the way. You can climb all the way up there. That is the fingerboard. And these are the strings. They make noises. They make sound. These right here where my fingers are, those are the shoulders of the violin. That's where you have a reference point as to where your wrist goes. More on that later. Here, where my hands are, we have the C bouts. The C bouts have to deal with the acoustics of the violin on the inside. Here, we have the F holes. The F holes allow the sound to come out of the violin when the strings are vibrating, because you don't see it, but they are vibrating, but very quickly. This is the bridge. Fun fact, the bridge is not glued to the violin. Who would have thought? So never, ever glue your bridge to the violin. Ever. That's a big no-no. Here is a mute. This is an accessory. Don't worry about it. Right here, we have the tailpiece. I like to think of it looking like a mermaid tail, or your tailbone, a little bit. Here, we have the chin rest, which is kind of funny because we don't actually put it on our chins. We actually put it on our jawline when we hold the violin. Mine is covered in cloth because I don't want mine to get dirty. Here, we have the end button. The end button is different from the end pin that the cellos and the basses have. Our end button does not extend like theirs. The reason our end button is there is to keep our tailpiece attached to the strings that are attached to the pegs. All of this creates tension, which creates sound when the strings are vibrating. So, then we have the back of the instrument. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's just the back. On the inside of the violin, if you look really closely and hold it like just up to the light, you can see this little stick. It's called the sound post. Sometimes it moves, and then your teacher's going to have to move it back. Because if it's not there, or if it falls down, your violin is going to sound pretty funky. Now, there's one part that I forgot. This whole thing right here, not just this black part, which is the fingerboard, but this whole entire thing right here that I have in my fist, it's called the neck. So these are the parts of the instrument. We have the scroll, we have the pegs, we have the peg box, we have the nut, we have the fingerboard, we have the neck, we have the shoulders, we have the C bouts, we have the F holes, we have the bridge, we have the tailpiece, we have the chin rest, we have the end button, we have the back, and one more thing, we have the highway from from the end of the fingerboard to the bridge is our bow highway, also known as the Chrysler Highway, which is where we put our bow. Where we put our bow? On the Chrysler Highway, from the end of the fingerboard to the bridge. It looks really small, but it's really not that small. So those are the parts of the instrument. I hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for